Hi, and we're doing another deconstructing questions video, and we're taking questions from Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is the paper from February 2018. So we're just going to look at 3 questions from this paper. We're going to start off with question 2. Scott withdraws 2,000 Moroccan dirham from a cash machine in Morocco. These are the charges that Scott has to pay. 2.75% of the cash he withdraws for changing currency. 3% of the cash he withdraws for using a cash machine in Morocco. Scott has to pay both charges in British pounds. 1 British pound equals 12.74 Moroccan dirham. What is the total of the charges in British pounds that Scott has to pay? Now, we've got 4 marks here, so we're going to go through and work out how we're going to get each of those marks. Well, the first thing we're going to have to do to work out the total costs, well, first we're going to need to work out the individual costs. So the first thing we're going to need is what's the cost for changing currency? Well, it's going to be we're going to need to work out 2.75% of the cash he withdraws, which is 2,000, and I'm going to put MD for Moroccan dirham. I don't know if that's correct, but that'll be fine for us. Okay. The second thing we're going to need to do is work out the next charge, which is 3% of the cash he withdraws for using a cash machine. So that's going to be very similar. That's going to be working out 3% of 2,000 Moroccan dirham. Because it still says 3% of the cash he withdraws, so it's still of the same original amount. Once we've got those 2 costs, we're going to need to work out or find the total, total cost, which is going to be these 2 individual costs added together. Now, that answer is going to be in Moroccan dirham. We want the answer in pounds, so the last thing is going to be convert from Moroccan dirham to pounds. Okay, so 4 steps, 4 things to do. We know what they are now, so we can just start doing the maths. Well, 2.75%, that's going to be 2.75 divided by 100. Of always means times, and it's going to be times the 2,000. Okay, so we can take our trusty calculator. So 2.75 divided by 100. So that's turning 2.75% into a decimal. Then we're going to multiply that by 2,000, which gives us 55. And I'm going to put MD for Moroccan dirham. So that's part 1. Part 2, we want 3% of the same thing. So we're going to do 3 divided by 100. 3 divided by 100, and then multiply that by 2,000. So let's write out the full calculation we're doing here. So we're doing 3 divided by 100 times 2,000, and this is giving us 60 Moroccan dirham. Now, what you could have done here is, because we want 2.75% and 3%, you could have added these together and then done one calculation. But that's fine, we're doing it this way. We want the total cost. Well, it's going to be these 2 added together. So we've got the 60 plus the 55, which gives us 115 Moroccan dirham. So we've done part 1, part 2 and part 3. Part 4, we've now got to convert it from Moroccan dirham to pounds. This is a bit where it can get a bit tricky. We know that £1 is 12.74 Moroccan dirham, and it's remembering, do I need to multiply? Do I need to divide? Well, the best way to think of it is we've got fewer pounds than Moroccan dirham. So we need our pounds to be a smaller number. Well, if we want this to become a smaller number, multiplying won't help because that'll make it bigger. So instead, we're going to need to divide. So we're going to start with our dirham, 115, and divide it by the 12.74, which is the exchange rate. So we've still got the 115 from before. Divide that by 12.74, and we get 9.02668, blah, blah, blah. Now, because it's money, we can put the pound sign in. We're going to need 2 decimal places because it's money. So these are 2 decimal places, but we've got to look at that third place to say, well, do we need to keep this as 02, or do we need to round it up to the next number? Well, 6 is more than 5, so yes, we're going to round that up to 9.03, or £9 and 3 pence. That's all 4 steps. Okay. Now we move on to question 5. Enid wants to work out the profit one of her coffee shops makes from selling tea and coffee. She knows that on a normal day, the coffee shop sells 160 cups of tea, that 3 cups of coffee are sold for every 2 cups of tea sold. So 3 cups of coffee for every 2 cups of tea. The income from a cup of tea is £1.80. So in other words, that's how much they charge. The income just means how much you get. The income from a cup of coffee is £2.20. And then we're told that the profit from the sale of tea and coffee is 1/3 of the total income from the sales of cups of tea and cups of coffee. Work out the total profit from the sales of cups of tea and cups of coffee on a normal day for Enid. Use the box below to show clearly how you get your answer. So let's think of our steps again. Well, this is clearly a ratio question. So the first thing I'd do in any ratio question would be to draw a ratio table. In fact, we'll actually do this as we're going along. So a ratio table, well, we're dealing with tea and coffee. So I'm going to draw a table like this. I'm going to want 3 columns. So we'll draw a line across the top. So we're going to have tea, coffee, and then we're going to have a total column. Okay, so I suppose we can put our starting point. We know that 3 cups of coffee are sold for every 2 cups of tea. So, actually we've done it. They've got coffee to tea. So it doesn't matter which way, because we've got cups of coffee before tea, I'm going to swap my headings round because it's going to make more sense if we've got them in the same order as them. Okay, so 3 cups of coffee for every 2 cups of tea. So the ratio of coffee to tea is 3 to 2. And the total, well, if we only sold 3 cups of coffee and 2 cups of tea, that would be a total of 5. So that's our drawing a ratio table. That's all I mean. It's putting the information that we've got in words, putting them into a little table here with our numbers and our headings. Well, once we've got that, we need to work out the total profit. To work out the total profit, we need to know the total income. To know the total income, we need to know the individual income from tea and the income from coffee. And to know that, we need to know how many cups of tea and coffee. So the second step is going to be work out how many cups of tea and coffee. Well, we know the total oh sorry, not the total, we know the total number of cups of tea. So really what we're trying to work out is the number of cups of coffee, I suppose, because we've already got the tea. So there's 160 cups of tea, so we can write that in this column here, okay, because that's information we've already got. So if we want to work out how many cups of coffee we sold, well, we say, well, how did we get from the 2 to the 160? We're trying to find a sort of a multiplier to get us from 1 to the next number. And the way to do that is to start with the ending position and divide it by the starting position. So 160 divided by 2, and we get 80. So what that's saying is that we're multiplying the 2 by 80 to get 160. So if we're doing that with tea, we need to do exactly the same with coffee. We're going to multiply that by 80. So we've got the 80 there already. We can multiply it by 3 and get 240. Okay, and just to complete the table, we don't have to do this, but if we sold 240 cups of coffee and 160 cups of tea, that would be 400 cups altogether. Right, so we've worked out how many cups of coffee. We already knew how many cups of tea. So then the next thing that we'd want to do is work out the income. So work out income for coffee and for tea. Well, the income for a cup of tea is £1.80. So we can say £1.80 multiplied by, well, we know we've got 160 cups of tea. So that's going to give us the total cost. Let's put the pound so we can see it's £1.80 multiplied by 160. So 1.8 times 160, and we get £288. We want to do that for coffee as well. Well, how much is coffee? Coffee is £2.20. And we've got 240 cups of coffee. So £2.20 multiplied by 240 gives us £528. Okay, so this one, I'm not spelling out all the steps first. I'm doing a step and then the calculation, just to do it a slightly different way, because this you might find this a prepared or preferred method of doing these calculations. But we're still thinking, well, I've still got 5 marks to earn. What's the fourth step? Well, if we know how much money we took for coffee and how much we took for tea, we're then going to want to work out the total income. Well, the total is going to be 528 plus 288. Well, we've got the 528 in the calculator already. Add 288 and we get £816. So we're almost there, but not quite, because what we actually want, our final step, is to work out the total profit. And we know that the profit from the sale of tea and coffee is 1/3 of the total income. So the final step is work out the profit. So that is going to be 1/3 of, which means times 816. Okay. Now, because we're using a simple calculator, it's going to be much easier for us to say, well, 1/3 of 816, that's just the same as 816 divided by 3, which gives us £272. And that's our final answer. Now we're on to question 7. Jose is a builder. He is going to build a new garage. The garage will be in the shape of a cuboid. He has this drawing of the garage. So here's the garage. Okay. So we've got the front here. This must be the opening to drive your car in. You've got a window here. And we've got the measurement for the height, the width of the garage, and then the length going back here. Jose decides that 3/4 of the total area of the 4 sides of the garage will be made of bricks. He will not use any bricks for the floor or the roof. So we don't care about the top or the bottom. Also tells us Jose knows 1 meter squared of brick wall needs 60 bricks. If we move this up. Right, let's do it to here. Okay. He will buy the bricks in packs. There are 360 bricks in each pack. Jose thinks that 7 packs of bricks is enough for the garage. Is Jose correct? Show why you think this. Right, so we're going to need our steps, and I'll use this space on the right here. Now actually let's move up so we can see 6 marks. Okay, so we're going to need 6 steps. Do 1, 2, 3, and this time I'm going to do all my steps first. Okay, it's a slightly different approach to the last question, just for a change, so you can see you don't have to do it exactly this way, you don't have to do it the other way, it's just to give you some alternatives. So before we start, or the first step we're going to have to do is work out the area of each wall. Okay, because remember they're saying the 4 sides of the garage, so it's just the 4 walls that we want. Okay, but we can see from the diagram that not all the walls are the same. Okay, in fact we're going to have the front, which is also going to be the back. They're going to be the back. They're going to be the same, and we know the front is 3 meters by 2.5 meters. Now you might be saying, oh, but the front's got this gap in it and the back hasn't. It doesn't actually matter, because they tell us that 3/4 of the total area of the 4 sides. So this is to kind of help us to picture it, but actually we don't need to use this in the calculation. In fact, we can't, because we don't know how big the opening is or the window. We just know that if we work out all 4 walls, we then take 3/4 of it. So we know the front and back are going to be the same with these measurements, and then we're going to have the sides. In fact, I'll put 2 sides, which is going to be 7.4 meters along the bottom, but the height is going to be the same as this height, so it's going to be 2.5 meters. Okay, so we said we're going to have to work out the area of each wall. Once we know the area of each wall, we're going to need to work out the total area. In other words, we're going to need to add them all together. Okay. Once we've got the total area, well, we then only want 3/4 of it. So we're going to work out again 3/4 of total area. Once we've got that, well, what's the next thing we're going to need to do? Well, we're going to need to know how many bricks we've got. So we can say calculate how many bricks needed. And once we know how many bricks we need, well, we've got to buy them in. He's saying that he thinks 7 packs are enough. So we're then going to need to, we can put workout or find number of packs required. And we can work that out based on how many bricks we need. Now the final bit, the actual question, is saying, is Jose correct? And that was the fact that he thinks 7 packs of bricks is enough. So this last step is going to be compare our answer with Jose's answer. Yeah, because it's not just enough to do the calculation. We've then got to say, well, is he right or not? Okay, so we've got our 6 steps to go with our 6 marks. So let's do the calculations then. Okay, work out the area of each wall. Well, we said we've got 2.5 meters high by 3 meters. So 2.5 times 3. So for this one, we need to remember that the area of a rectangle, let's put the area, is the length times the width. Okay, so we're going to do 2.5 times 3, which gives us 7.5 meters squared. And for the sides, we're going to have 2.5 times 7.4. 2.5 times 7.4, which gives us 18.5 meters squared. Okay, so that's the first part. Work out the total area. Well, the total area, I'll do it in this space here. Total area is going to be, well, we want 2 of these because we've got a front and a back. So it's going to be 2 times 7.5. And then we want 2 of these sides. So it's going to be 2 times 18.5. So 2 times 7.5 is 15. Let's put that in our memory. Okay, now we can clear. Then we've got 2 times 18.5, which is 37. Add that onto our memory, so memory recall, which gives us 52 meters squared. That's the second part. Now we need to work out 3/4 of the total area. So we want 3/4 of, so then that means times the total area, which is 52. So 3 divided by 4 times 52 is 39 meters squared. Okay. Calculate how many bricks needed. We need to move up a little bit now for this. Jose knows 1 meter squared will need 60 bricks. So if it's 39 meters squared, we want 39 lots of 60 bricks. So 39 times 60 gives us 2,340 bricks. Okay, so that's step 4. Step 5, find the number of packs required. There are 360 bricks in each pack. So how many 360s can we get in this number? Or in other words, 2,340 divided by 60. Again, we've still got that in the calculator, so we can keep that there. Just divide it by, oh no, not 60. Sorry, there's 360 in each pack. So divide that by 360, which gives us 6.5 packs. Now, if you go into a shop and try and buy 6.5 packs, they'll probably say, no, you can't buy 0.5 or half a pack. You will need to buy a whole number of packs, so we're going to have to buy 7 packs, because 6 wouldn't be enough, so we have to go to the next whole number. So we found the number of packs required. The last part, compare our answer with Jose's answer. We say we need 7 packs. Jose thinks that 7 packs is enough for the garage. Is Jose correct? Yes, he is. Done all 6 steps. Okay, so again, I've gone in the slightly more complex, the longer questions in these papers, broken them down, tried to show a couple of different methods of doing them, writing out all of your thoughts and your planning first, or alternatively, you can do a bit of a planning and then some of the calculations. Try both ways, see what works for you. So I hope you found it useful. Do like, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on to get updated when I load more videos, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.